Hello, I'm Darkwell, Bled, and welcome back to Beyond the Rusted Gate. Today's short story, and it is a short one, is called Angry Eyes. There was a moment of blackness, and then the living room. Darrell Pepperton could not remember where, when, or how he had met his wife, only that he loved her dearly, and that tonight she would die. The kids had gone to bed and would never awake, and soon he and his wife would settle down to watch television. They would channel surf and settle on Jeopardy, where, by the end of it, the fourth night champion would lose. Soon afterwards, Darrell and his family would die. Be killed. Murdered viciously. Darrell was not sure why he so assuredly felt this would be the case. He could not explain the knot of fear that had tied itself inside his stomach, or the anxiety that dripped cold sweat down his back, or why, while surrounded by such love and pleasantries, his thoughts refused to turn from dread and disaster. There was, so far as he could think, no catalyst for these thoughts. They just were, and perhaps had always been, and always would be. Martha Pepperton sat beside Darrell where she always did and always would, and Darrell watched her pretty lips move and her eyes smile. How completely he loved her and their life, and how he longed to hear her voice over the panicked throbbing in his head. He concentrated hard and distantly heard her ask what they should watch, and from far away he heard himself answer, Jeopardy. The show ran on, and though he had no answers, Darrell felt he had heard every question before. It was a repeat. All of this was a rerun. His wife smiled and spoke words she had said before, and Darrell nodded in agreement, just as he had the last time and the time before that ad infinitum. Every moment reeked of déjà vu, and every conversation felt as hollow and distant as an echo. Martha poured a glass of wine that she had drunk before, and above them 2 silent thuds exploded loudly. Darrell felt himself ask what the noise was, but before any answer could be given or known, he had already begun to mourn and acutely feel the death of his children. It burned with an intensity beyond their singular loss, and was accompanied by every time they had died before or would die again, and was compounded by the limitless helplessness of Darrell's existence. And then he entered. The man with dark hair and angry eyes. The man who would and did soon shoot Darrell's wife. Martha reached out to Darrell and Darrell to her, but before they touched, he too was shot. His death was not instant, and as he lay bleeding out, he found he could fully fathom the cruelty of the crime, the unfairness of the deaths, and the tragic slaughter that was the end of the Pepperton family. Darrell Pepperton was dead. He was dead, and soon awoke in a room of mirrors. From all angles of the room stared back at him angry, tired eyes and dark hair become grey. The face of the killer. His face. Memories flooded back. A lump sum payment. His breaking and entering, shooting the children as they lay sleeping, and then shooting Martha and Darrell Pepperton in their living room. There was more. His running, his capture, his subsequent arrest and trial, and now he felt their suffering just as acutely as he recalled himself having caused it. And then a cold, disembodied voice spoke. Scott Franks. Crime. Murder. 1st degree. 4 counts. Sentence. Life in prison subject to empathic neural stimuli. The man screamed and writhed in full understanding and remembrance of his position. How many times must he be forced to be and to love those whom he has killed? How long was he cursed to live and experience the actions of his own cruelty? Suddenly Scott Franks felt the reality of his existence begin to distort, and his memories blurred and became manipulated. His own self-identity and awareness twisted, and all sense of time and being became uncertain. It would all soon begin again, just as it had for decades. Victim sympathy simulation will commence again momentarily. There was a moment of blackness, and then the living room. Darrell Pepperton could not remember where, when, or how he had met his wife, only that he loved her dearly, and that tonight she would die. Thanks for listening. That is my shortest story I think I've ever written, Angry Eyes, from my second collection of short stories, Screams from Beyond the Crypt. If you would like to support me and own a copy of the collection yourself, it's available from most online book distribution sites, and if you would like to hear more stories, subscribe, because I'm planning to do one every fortnight. So thanks again for listening, stay spooky, and until next time, I am Darkwell Bled.